All right, so today I quickly wanted to debunk a major risk management strategy involving, it's called cut your losses short and let your winners run. And while most profitable strategies do employ that to some form, it's because they have an edge, meaning that they're betting when the odds are in their favor, that either the reward exceeds the probability or exceeds the break even probability of that risk reward, or the win rate exceeds the probability of the reward, if that makes any sense. So for example, I'm just gonna, don't worry about the chart. This isn't about the chart. This is mostly just about, I'll just bring this up here. Turn off volume. I don't want to distract you guys. Okay. So let's say that according to that logic, this this follows that strategy exactly, right? So let's say every trade you take is a 1 to 10, which means that you're cutting your losses short and you're letting your winners run, correct? Like, this is just a basic application of that strategy. It doesn't have to be 1 to 10. It could be anything. It could be a 1 to 5. It could be a 1 to 20, whatever. But 1 to 10, just say. Now, the problem is if you use this, if you just copy paste this strategy onto your chart at any given time, entering whenever you feel like it or whenever you think it's going to work, there's a reason why this won't work. Okay? And because when it comes to trading the markets, if you don't have an edge and you don't see an edge, then doing this randomly is not going to produce a profitable result. It may put you in profit for a while, but the rule of large numbers dictates that over the long run, your strategy will break even. After break even, subtract fees and commissions from it, and your strategy is losing, correct? And what this means is that, what is the break even trading break even calculator? What is the break even win rate of a 1 to 10? About 9%. So if you just copy paste this strategy, if you just take a 1 to 10 trade every time you trade, and it's not backed by data, you haven't proven that you have a high probability that you have found an edge. Obviously, no edge is necessarily guaranteed because you could have overfitted a back test or something like that. But if you believe that with a high degree of certainty that you actually have found an edge, then this could work if your edge determines a 1 to 10 risk reward. Your edge will determine what your risk reward is, though, because the back test will be contingent upon whatever your risk reward is. Anyway, basically, if you trade like this with no edge, you can expect to win about 9% of the time, and you will break even. Okay, this is a very simple video I'm just making right now, just trying to drill a very simple point home. The reason I have to harp on these little simple things is because there's so much misinformation out there on YouTube that's used for clickbait. And most YouTube channels, especially ones about trading, actually aren't profitable traders. They're just teaching the same crap over and over again so that they can get subscribers and begin making money off YouTube videos. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with making money off of YouTube, but when you're just making these stupid videos that just say things that aren't true, it bothers me, and I have to come out of the woodwork and tell you the truth. So cut your losses early and let your winners run, in and of itself, is not going to help you become a profitable trader. If your edge that you find tells you that on this specific asset, on this day of the week, or in this week of the month, or when this type of news happens, then you go for a 1 to 10 and you will win more than 9% of the time, then you have an edge, and then it's justified. But the concept alone of letting your winners run and cutting your losses early in and of itself has nothing to do with profitability. It's completely contingent upon what your edge is. Okay? Because guess what? What if you had an edge? Okay? What if you had an edge that says that, I'm just doing a short position to make it make sense, but what if instead you risk 10 to make 1? What does your win rate have to be? About a 91%, right? The inverse of what the other one was. Okay, but let's say that you win this trade 95% of the time. Is that an edge? Yes. Is that worth trading? Yes. Statistically speaking, if you win this trade, a 10 to 1 trade, meaning 10 risk, 1 reward, but you win it 95% of the time, you have a 4% edge. That 4% edge means that theoretically you can risk 4% of the account per trade. So the size of this loss would be 4% of your current account balance before each trade. And you would make about a whatever, I think you would make basically 9% of 4%. So you would not make very much money each trade, and the times you would lose a lot, but you would be winning so frequently that the account would still compound. And if you need me to prove that right now, then I will. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say you risk 4% of the account, the risk reward is 0.1, and you win 95% of the time. Let's say you start with $2,000. Guess what? After 100 trades, you'll be up 19%. Now the equity curve is going to look strange with a system like this, but I'm just going to show you that if you keep continuing this strategy indefinitely, it's not a crazy edge, but as you can see, the amount is compounding, correct? And you will have times where you have drawdowns, of course, but you can see that in the long run, with a strategy, with exactly what I just determined there, has a 4% edge, and risking 4% above the 91% win rate to break even yields the most optimal and most profitable result for that risk to reward and win rate. Okay, so so I'm here to debunk all the crap about all the basic risk 2% per trade. You have to cut your losses early. You have to let your winners run. That's only if the system that you have found that has an edge necessitates that or calls for that. If you found an edge that is this occurring 95% of the time, that's your edge, and that's what you have to lean into, and this is what the edge calls for, right? And in this case, it's the complete opposite. It's taking your winners early and letting your losers run. So again, it's the whole trading industry, the trading education industry that you find mostly on like YouTube and TikTok and whatever social media sites are promoting trading strategies and trading psychology and how to this, how to that. They're literally obscuring the very simple math behind trading, behind betting, and this is what it really is. And if you want to get better perspective on betting, I would advise that you look into blackjack and learn the cards counting system. I'm not saying you have to become a card counter, because traveling from casino to casino, risking getting backed off and all that, it's a very time-consuming and grueling process to make money from blackjack. But let me show you what blackjack is, okay? Okay, so I think it's okay, so the 1.5, okay, so okay, this isn't exactly what all the numbers will be, but it's a balanced version of it. So in blackjack, apparently, on average, the player's edge, if you're perfectly counting cards with no mistakes, is 1.5%. Your risk to reward is more than 1-to-1, but after the 1.5% edge, it's not. So I'm going to just say it's a 1-to-1 with a 51.5% win rate. Now, it's not exactly that. You actually lose, I think, or you win about 49.5% of the time, but because blackjack, when you hit blackjack 21, it pays out 3-2. That's kind of it increases your risk reward by a little bit. And I don't know the exact math for that, but this is the same as if it was that. It's just instead of increasing the risk reward, I'm increasing the win rate. Okay. This is your edge in blackjack. Oh, it won't let me do a 50. Okay, so I'll just round it to 52. Okay, so this is the edge that a blackjack player has. It's a little bit more than the edge that a blackjack player has, okay? So as you can see, actually, a blackjack player doesn't have a whole ton of edge. They've got about a 1.5 to 2% edge. So it takes a very, very long time for a blackjack player to see results. However, they can play very, 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 very many hands in a small amount of time. Whereas you and me, if we're trading, it takes to see 100 trades could take us 100 days or 50 days. For a blackjack player to see 100 hands, that could take them, what, like an hour? So obviously their edge is smaller, but their frequency of their quote-unquote trades is happening more. So, and now you can see there is drawdown and there's tons of variance in this. But overall, it is trending upward, correct? Well, not completely. It is though. Okay, it has a 52% win rate and a 1-to-1 risk reward. This will make money in the long run, but there is just a lot of variance because it's not a very big edge. But if you just keep doing this forever, trust me, it would continue to go up. There will be drawdowns and stuff, and but as you can see, in the long run, it is going up. But so anyway, the concept of blackjack is the very same as the concept of trading, which is that you're betting your edge, percentage of your bankroll as your edge when you have the odds in your favor. If the odds aren't in your favor, you don't place the bet. Okay, just like a blackjack player will either bet the minimum or, if they can get away with it, not betting at all when the count is against them on the table. So you don't have to look into blackjack, but I would recommend it. It will help you to conceptualize what you're actually trying to do as a trader better, which is that, and I am definitely guilty of this as much as anyone else, but that's why I'm speaking about it from experience, is that we think that trading is about trying to just identify visual patterns and be able to trade them efficiently, even though I've shown you how the 930 candle and betting when it retraces into it can lead to these kinds of trades, and then you take profit at the high of day or you try to hold till end of day, stuff like that. Even though there are some patterns that look like that, again, I haven't backtested that one enough to know its exact edge. And in trading, you're not really trying to figure out candlestick patterns. Okay, that is too much technical analysis, right? I'm not even really looking too much at candlestick patterns with the one that I talked about here. I'm more looking at, okay, when is the edge in my favor? Okay, but so the important thing with trading is to kind of forget the sticks, forget the chart, look at the data. You want to have a coded backtest in something like NinjaTrader. You want to prove what your edge is, and I'm not saying backtest a year. A lot of people will backtest for a year, and they'll think that they've got a profitable system, and then it doesn't work. It craps out on them. My system, my bot that I run, has got, I'd say it's got about eight years of confirmed, actually over 8, maybe like 10 years of confirmed profitable backtesting. Okay, so if my system has been working on the NASDAQ for the past 10 years, there's a much higher likelihood that it will continue to work on the NASDAQ. Possibly indefinitely, or for at least for like the next 10 years, who knows. But if your system's only been working for a year, like, it hasn't seen enough of what the market can do in order to prove that it's actually finding a pattern. It may be overfitted. So you really have to backtest as far back as you can go. The NASDAQ on NinjaTrader can go back up to, I think, all the way back to like 2007. Things were, I mean, I haven't always ran the backtest all the way back there just because well, I won't get into it, but basically the value of the NASDAQ was so low back then that when you're using fixed tick values for your take profits and stop losses, it's not really relevant back then, because it was worth about like a tenth of what it's worth now. So obviously, like going for 100 ticks, having a 100 tick stop loss now versus having a 100 tick stop loss in 2008 is two very, very, very different things, right? A 100 tick stop loss in 2008 is like a huge amount of the NASDAQ. Having a 100 tick stop loss now is a very small amount of the NASDAQ. Anyway, this video probably went on too long, but I just hope that I'm just trying to put your guys, just give you tidbits, put you guys in perspective. There's so much crap out there. It's not going to make you profitable. Okay, trading is so much harder than people think it is. Okay, and it's not necessarily hard and like, oh, it's like the most difficult thing ever. It's just that there's so many lies out there that are easy to fall for that will make it very difficult for you to succeed at. If you attack trading from the wrong angle, you will never make money. You have to find the right angle to attack it from, which is statistically back-tested bots. Whatever your strategy is, your best bet is to make it coded so that it will execute automatically. That way you know there's no room for human error in your manual entry, stuff like that. Because if you can see it and then you have to prove it. And the only way to prove it scientifically is with a backtest. And the only way to efficiently and quickly backtest over thousands and thousands of days is to have it do it on a backtesting software, because it would take you a long time to do that manually, and you would make more mistakes than a computer. You will make mistakes, whereas a computer won't. Anyway, you have to backtest it, and then once it's backtested, obviously then it's coded, and then you can run it automatically. And that's how trading really should be. I'm not saying it's not possible to be profitable as a manual trader, but you have to at least be manually trading a proven strategy. So for example, like Coolamage's strategy is proven. He proved that it has an edge. So if you follow what he does manually, there you go. But I'm sure there's actually technically a way to automate Coolamage's strategy. Therefore, you would actually have a better concept of how big his edge actually is, and therefore you would actually be able to risk an optimal F amount. Because Coolomage, as great of a trader as he is, he doesn't risk optimal F. He risks about, I think, like 1.5% of his account per trade. But Coolomage has said that he gets about a 1 to 5 to 1 to 10 to 1 to 20. I would say let's just assume that Coolamage averages like a 1 to 8. If he averages a 1 to 8, his break-even win rate is like 11%, and he says that he has about a 25% win rate. So 25 minus 11 is 14. Theoretically, he should be risking like 14, 13% of his account per trade, but he's risking 1.5%. And so, okay, I mean, again, maybe it's because since he's doing it manually, his edge is harder to automate, and therefore it's less consistent. That may be the case, in which case risking less than 13% or risking 1.5% per trade is a lot safer. But like, if he's as good as says he is, and now he's had over 10 years of experience trading, he should be risking more than 1.5% per trade if he really believes in the system. And he's really good at trading it now. Like I just said, he could be risking like, come on, like you don't have to go 13, but he could risk 10% of his account per trade. He would get away with it. But so anyway, I guess that's a different discussion for a different day. People just really don't understand optimal F very well. Even really good traders don't understand optimal F, because it does take balls to trade optimal F. I will say that, because the drawdowns are crazy, but the gains are even crazier. Coolamage turned $5,000 into $100 million in 10 years. If he'd been trading optimal F, he would easily be a multi-billionaire. So he'd have at least 10 to 20 times his current net worth. Actually, he probably could have 100 times his current net worth. Just saying. I'm just saying. So it is a difference. Like obviously, like having $100 million, like you never have to worry about money again, right? But if the skills that made you $100 million could have made you $10 billion if you had just risked more per trade, that's it. I mean, 100 million seems like a lottery ticket to you and me, right? But 100 million is a small amount compared to 10 billion, right? Which one would you rather have? So again, it's just about being realistic about your system. Like he undervalues his trading edge, therefore he doesn't risk enough per trade and he doesn't make enough money. So that's just the reality of the situation. You can argue with me about that if you want. I'm not gonna waste time arguing about it. I'm just telling you like it is. That's literally optimal F. The whole point is you risk your edge above break even per trade. It's that simple. If you're risking less, that's fine. You'll still make money, but you're not making as much as you could, which technically doesn't make any sense, right? It's better than risking too much per trade, which will blow the account, but it's still suboptimal, right? So anyway, okay, this video went on way too long, but take care, guys, and I'll see you next time.